All right, here we go. Here we go. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, traders. This is day 15 of my challenge. 1 second, I'm going to. All right, so here, as you see, I'm already in a trade. This has been happening a lot lately, and I'm curious to see if it plays out. Took a setup here at 908. The last number of few days in the last week or so, my model has presented itself in the 850 to 910 macro, and then 930 provided continuation. So, and even several of the times it actually ran before 930 open. So somewhere right about in this time frame. So here this is 930 open. Somewhere in this, what is it, 920 hour, it started to run. So I don't know. We shall see. It's going into today with a little bit of a open bias, and this was a suggestion from a friend and is an idea from, well, I'm struggling to talk. I haven't had enough of my coffee. See? Look at that. Yum. And is an idea from Casper SMC, where he goes into the day and he marks the levels at which he's willing to do business, whether they're bullish or bearish, and if it's against his bias or with his bias. And if he's being truthful, he said he found that he was most profitable trading with no bias. So kind of bringing that into the mix today. I saw the setup present itself, and I might have been slightly more on the bearish side for the beginning of the morning. So maybe that's going to kick me in the butt. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. But ultimately, I saw the model that fit all my criteria where I was willing to do business. I saw the confirmations. So I hit it. We have 7 minutes until open. Let's see what happens. This trade has just kind of been grinding ever since I got into it. I got into it here on this candlestick, and it has just been chopping, which it's possible, or it's probable, right? After a distribution like this down to the sell side liquidity, getting a bit of chop thereafter, and pre 930. So I like how this is forming. I do feel it's gonna have a bullish bias. We had London low taken, a 1 hour candle and a 4 hour candle liquidity swept. And we have plenty of liquidity to the buy side. So overnight traders are in profit. So, it makes sense. I was just thinking it was going to dig deeper before getting a bullish reversal. So this candlestick's high was now taken right there. I would have preferred for that candle to have closed much more bullishly. I don't like how it's building this trendline liquidity down in here. That kind of spooks me out a little bit. I like how, when you get these little mini stop hunts. So I'd like to see a little stop hunt into here and continuation. But for now, there's nothing to do. I know today is Friday. Fridays have been notoriously not great in the NQ, so I'm not going to put too much into today. Today is also no news Friday, so if there's any volatility in distribution, I'm expecting it around the 930 open, which is also in part why I positioned myself ahead of that. And I'm going for low-hanging fruit objectives, more or less. So if this does end up being a breaker, here's one standard deviation, and I'm going somewhere in here. I'll probably adjust it as I see what happens. Trade. That is if I don't get stopped out. I don't like this candle here. I feel like with liquidity being swept down here, it's going to tend bullish, even if it's just going to go up here and then reverse. I do think I'm positioned on sides to start off with. Not saying it has to do that though. So this here is a previous first presented fair value gap. We have regular trading hours still above us. So that's kind of another indication that we could at least fill in halfway to the regular trading hours. And then, of course, a bullish SMT down here at the lows. So I already peeled one contract off right above these highs. So TP1 was hit, reducing my position size. I made that pretty conservative for a target because it was against my quote-unquote bias. Like when I quickly glanced at the chart, I said, oh, I'd like to see it come further down before longing. So playing this trade a little more conservatively for those reasons. Something to be said for me at this point in time about hitting the model and not breaking even. I feel like I've had a few people tell me I think too much, which is true. I've thought whenever I get into anything in life, I tend to close to overthink it. So I'll take their advice to heart and try to think a little less. It's what I like about what the video I watched on Casper SMC recently, where he talked about turning your trading process into like a standard operating procedure, right? And framing it in the ideas of like business, like these are levels I'm interested in doing business at. And if price isn't at those levels, I have no reason to even think. And once it does get to those levels, do I see my confirmation? See my confirmation, then I hit it. And that's exactly what happened here. I saw multiple levels of interest getting hit. I saw my confirmation, so I went in. And we got 2 minutes to open, kind of still just chopping sideways here, so I'm leaving my stop. I'm not pushing my stop up. I feel like 930 could come take these lows and continue higher. Is a strong possibility. Here's this inversion right here. I'd love to see this turn into a breaker. One minute to open. So I'm fine with it coming down in here and clearing this liquidity out. I do want to see a quick response from down in here though. Don't want to see too many candle bodies closing down in this zone. I want to see a nice nice tail on a candle. And 10 seconds until 9:30. Okay, regular trading hour gap is now above us. Fine if it taps into this liquidity. This to me is going to looking like it's want to stop me out. Okay, super strong response. For me, that's a nice response as long as it closes it. So there we go. I want to see it push up. I don't want to see this candle coming down like this. And it already did its business. It took its liquidity. I want to see it pushing up higher to be on side. I mean, I don't get to pick, obviously. 14 seconds. So yeah, this candle's closing bearishly. Probably not looking good for my position here. I don't have a short in this area, so if I'm not on side right now, okay, that's an okay closure. Not the worst, not the best. I do want to see this move with force up here now. I don't want to see it sit here and chop. Because that's the other thing that 930's been doing somewhat recently is just going sideways. I don't want to be in that. This candle here tapped into this volume imbalance. Clean that up a little bit. I don't like how it closed below this inversion that keeps getting inverted. Okay, there we go. That's nice looking. That's better. Oh, no. If it closes, it's not closing, so it took more liquidity. And not looking pretty. So that candle closed as a compression candle. You have a bullish SMT down in here. Let's see what ESYM are doing. Dow is my mouse is slow. So the Dow is coming down, opposing. ES is making a flag up. So I'm not liking this right now. Not saying it can't do whatever it wants to do, but this is not looking favorable for me. Doesn't mean it's like guaranteed to lose, but just really not wanting to do anything. So candles 1, 2, 3 are just compression candles, chopping up traders. I really want to see it just start distributing a nice closure above, and that would make me happy. But at this point in time, nothing to do. Nothing to do but chill out. All right, so 10 seconds till this candle closes. Let's see if it actually closes in any meaningful way. Somewhat meaningful, almost a change in state of delivery. We're getting, there's a tiny inversion right there. So we've got a miniature stop hunt, inversion, fair value gap. I would love to see it just distribute higher strongly, creating an impulse leg here. And then of course, it would be awesome to get a gap in the swing point. And that would give me more confidence in trade. Not just that it's going to stop hunt this high and then, which is possible, totally possible. So still staying pretty conservative. Front running, I already took a contract off right there, and I'm going to front run my exits by a bit. Just being Friday with no news and lower probability conditions. This is not looking very pretty. I don't like that. When it looks pretty is when it typically tends to just run. So it didn't close above, not a good sign. Coming down in here, this is not some fun. This is not fun price action. It might clean up, we'll see. All right, there we go. Get a close above that breaker. I'd be happy, but it's just wicking, so I'm not going to count on it quite yet. Making some strong movement here. At this point, I'm going to tuck my stop up. A little tight. I don't believe it's going to. If it does, I probably want out of the trade. If it's not going, I probably just want to take an L and be done. If it comes down into here, it's probably just going to go sideways. All right, close above, confirming this as a breaker for the moment. I am noting that this, stop hunt happened, right? We did have bullish SMT. That must have gone away. Yeah, no more. There was a bullish SMT forming. That's gone from those lows. However, we do have a bullish SMT right here, so nice. What else? What else? What else? Coming back down and testing this order block, this breaker. We have what, 23 minutes left on this 1 hour candle. Digging in a little deep for my liking. Is there any reason for it to go lower? So now it's distributing lower with force, volume imbalance, tailless candle. Well, the fact that that doesn't have a tail, I'm willing to let it maneuver down in here just a little bit more. So 3 minutes till 9:40. Like that it doesn't have a tail on there. It can come down and grab some of this liquidity if it wants, push higher. I'm okay with that. Not my preference. This candle hadn't have had this lack of a wick up on the top side. I would have taken my stop loss as it was. However, looking like how this is closing, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get stopped out on this one. And I'm out. So that was a partial L. Now what? Wait and see. Is it going to distribute or is it going to go into seek and destroy mode? There was a stop hunt with a change in state of delivery right there, but I don't have any reason to do anything here. I took my long, I took my shot. Let's see. So right there, actually, earlier I was saying I felt I was prematurely entering the long. Right here, that is the level at which I was entering. So what am I looking for? It's a fair value gap at the moment. Huge stop loss relative to the first target. So about 60 bucks per micro to long that. Cleaning up a little bit, so I like that. I like how the candles are moving, making nice closures, not wicking too bad. So here's a 4-hour fair value gap. This has the same. Well, let's see what liquidity has been taken. So tapped into this 4-hour fair value gap, taking this 2 a.m. candles low, taking these two 1-hour lows. It is possible, like if the if it's bearish, this is off sides. New day opening gap is here. does give me a little bit of a tighter stop if I wanted to use that swing. Unless I'm totally off sides, because it could be Thursday high of the week, and I guess we got to recognize it. Could be offsides longing. 742 is not inside my macro. Wait and see. What else do I see here? I mean, we have a lot of liquidity below us. That's whole week. This out here. So like the idea of private TGIF. Low of the week, high of the week. Oops, other way around. Want to see how far the weekly candle has retraced. So it's already at a 20 or 30% retracement. Over here, this closed candle above. I'm outside of my macro. So it took this tail, this candle right there. There is the possibility, if it is bullish, to enter on this breaker. So I'm not out of options. I don't have to chase price. I would rather enter on that breaker anyway. So there's still room for my targets. Yeah, we're way below New York midnight. London hit the 130 ADR. London did hit the 130 ADR. Typical sign for continuation or than reversal, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be a reversal. So looking at this kind of idea, this too would meet my criteria. Hey, I don't know. I could be offsides. Took a partial here and then got stopped out on my runners. So that was a partial loss on this trade. Got 4 minutes till the next macro. Let's see what we got going on here. Looking kind of ugly. Like I entered the trade on this candle and you can see it just started kind of going sideways and getting pretty wicky. If it was continuing like this, I would shut it down and wouldn't take any other chance today. This to me, this looks reasonably clean. So if this were to continue up, I'd be interested. Recognizing it's Friday with no news. So not exactly expecting huge distribution or anything like that. Checking other things on the other charts, the 5 and the 15. Stoked about the 5 and the 15. They're looking a little choppy. So we look at the 5, we see these wicks and tails on both sides. Look at the 15, and starting here with these two candles, not looking so hot. But if this candle were to get a strong closure, that would help me validate a long idea. If not, I'll probably stay out because I don't want to get in. Outside of my macro, few minutes. Okay. That kind of thing is the idea. Armed my breaker. Tapped into session, hour, 4-hour liquidity. There is an SMT down at the lows. There is a 4-hour fair value gap. There is high probability session targets, session and equals. I went in this time with just 2 mics. So there, yeah, there's the long idea. What happens? Really wondering if I should. Oh gosh, it's just not a lot of room. But I don't want to be greedy also. Because like even right here is probably where I should TP something, but the entry was just too close to that, so I need to at least extend my first TP out to this swing high, which is a little more risky because all it could want is just this swing high. I don't know for sure. Obviously, no one does. Let's see what we've got going on down. Retesting in on this breaker. I like that. Push up higher. I don't expect a ton out of this trade today. And even this is not even one standard deviation of that breaker. But midnight open is up here, anywhere in here. There's some equal highs right there. A lot of inefficiencies. Asia high. We'll see how it runs. I might push this up a bit because we still have the Asia high up here. Midnight would probably be my limit for what I would shoot for on this trade. Cool. Partial taken by that. Still have one runner right there. I don't anticipate It might want to come back down and retest this breaker. I want to allow for some flexibility here on that. Have a fair value gap right here. Itty bitty one right there, but they matter. Trying to figure out if where I should stick my stop loss, because here's the breaker itself. Really, maybe I could use the breaker. So it's pretty much below that fair value gap. What I don't like is my stop is larger than my take profit. So that way, if I get stopped out, not break even on. That was my TP. So the stop would need to be down into here, which this IFVG doesn't have a retest. I'm leaving that on the table as possible. I do like how it's pushing higher though. Anyways, back to the question, you know, tucking my stop up I could do here now. So I find this often enough for me where I'm on sides. It just wants one level deeper. So I need to look into that, or at least lately that's been happening several times this week, where I took a long or a short, just wanted, and it met all my criteria. Like there's the consequent encroachment of the 4-hour, 1 hour fair value gap, but then it wanted the 4-hour fair value gap consequent encroachment. So then it comes down into here. I feel like I'm kind of just breaking even on these kind of setups between the two combined. Like in here, I'm not going to shoot for 2R. I just don't think it's a good idea. Not that it couldn't totally do it, but I don't have the expectation that that's going to be the case. Now for here, we are above 50% of the way to my stop, so I take profit, so I could move my stop, break even, that's within my rule set. And that'll work, I guess. Okay. We have some of these levels here which price can fall back on. Theory. No, no imbalances though. That's what I'd really like to see, would be some balances in this impulse move, but not there. So we'll zoom out a little bit. New day opening gap. Okay, so that's what this is running into. We have the new day opening gap. On the 15, there is a whole gap too. Tapping into consequent encroachment of that 15-minute fair value gap. These equal highs right there look pretty juicy to me. Here the 4-hour took the 2 a.m. candle low, tapped into consequent encroachment in the of both probably the rejection block and the fair value gap. Oh, I'm not even paying attention to the trade. Where's RB? Over here. That's moving, so I want to see. I don't like these equal lows down in here. So I might front run this a little bit. I wouldn't mind just getting out and being able to call it a break-even day. I'm not going to push it very hard on a Friday. Coming down and rebalancing out that inefficiency. It's been balanced out. I want to see it now continue on higher. I want it to leave these equal lows for later. I would not like to see it come for them now, really. So it was so close to my take profit. I want to see this candle push up above this down close candle. 15 seconds in, it could be forming a lower wick. Don't really want, I want to see it kind of like this pattern here. One down close candle and a green candle. Down close candle and a green candle. Otherwise, it's going to possibly come all the way back down into here before coming up. Taking these equal lows right there. I want to see a super sharp response. Otherwise, it's coming down to retest this breaker. So 12 seconds left on this candle. Really do want to see it push high quick. Doesn't look like it. I don't want to see it close down here. I don't like that. So here we have large inefficiency in this candle, this displacement. If it doesn't push through this pretty quickly, then I'm going to get this stopped at break even, which is okay. My preference would have obviously been TP2 to be hit. Same over here, I got a TP hit and then a break. Actually, I took a loss on this one because there was no break even possibility here. So this has now been balanced out except for a couple of ticks, right? Little gap here. I want to see it put. I want this to be a stop hunt and continue. ES is just chopping sideways and ugly. YM, totally uncorrelated. So that's low probability conditions. I do believe it to be bullish. However, I don't know if it's going to come here first or here first. And I got a feeling it's going to come here first. And I'm just not interested with what I'm seeing today. I'm not interested in putting any risk on the table. Otherwise, I might have kept my stop loss, let it come back down into this breaker, then continued on for continuation. But I don't think I'm interested in that today. Met 75% of, so my rule is if it meets 75% of the way to my TP, I can go break even. Tailless candle down here so far, don't like that. But doesn't mean it's off the table. It can wait. It can save this tail. It can mitigate this later. That's the new 1 hour candle right there. So that means both the 1 hour and the 4 hour candle are lacking tails at this point in time. All right, so for me, that's a stop hunt, equal lows stop hunt, displaced through this version right there, created another fair value gap. So I'm cool with moving my stop up. I think this shouldn't go any lower than this wick, if anything. Maybe I'm being greedy here, wanting to get back to break even. That's totally possible. super tiny inversion. I'm not even going to look at SMTs there. Not helpful. Oh, got fair value gap. It's closed the position, so it took that high. I'll just be done with that. 20 cents in the red. All right, so I mitigated my partial loss. So what now? Zoom out and see. So the 5 and the 15 cleaned up a little bit, started to distribute towards buy side. There's still these equal highs right up in here that I'm eyeballing. That was my low-hanging fruit objective. But I was happy just to break even on that trade or mitigate my previous partial loss. Nice 15-minute candle closed above, created a change in state of delivery. Pushing significantly through this fair value gap, telling me it's probably going to be bullish. 4 hour, now that I look at this, is just kind of going sideways. No tail on this candle, which is what sketched me out on that trade. Both the 1 hour and the 4 hour, you can see coming down. I didn't want to be on any part of a retracement down in here to form a tail on the candle, even if it is still bullish. Over here. So yeah, look at that coming back down. So it was a proper decision at this moment to get out on that candle simply because I wasn't wanting it to come down into here. Here's this tailless candle that it's going to mitigate. The question is, closes, then it's inverting this. There's a stop hunt after taking a liquidity level and inversion. So it closed below there, creating a inverted fair value gap. So that's also a sell side model. I wouldn't take it. Ooh. Boy. So here in the case of today, I guess I should have just waited. Pre-market has been making my model, and it looked good at first with this distribution lower, impulse higher, close above this gap, and then of course enter on this candle after closure above my inversion, and then it goes sideways. Then it stops me out. I didn't move my stop because there was just no place to move. I took a partial here, and after that partial, it was like, well, I expect it to play in here, and so I could have even, I think I put my stop below this low, so I got stopped out on this candle right below this low. I think I was able to tuck it up a little bit, but yeah, so that was still a partial L right there. And I took this to mitigate my partial L. And yeah, what do my rules say? I took a partial L and a partial W. That equals what? Break even, right? So I still have more ammo. I think the question is, my goals for the week are not met, so that's why I'm still here in front of the charts. Look at that, it's mitigated this right there, that tail, this candle. Now it's inverting this inversion. Nice. So, oh, look at that. Now it's just going to go sideways, right? I don't like this candle. This candle shouldn't have done that. So we don't have a tail here. Don't have a tail here. And I've been noticing this more and more on Fridays. These tailless candles are looking like Asia. Fridays are the new Mondays is what I've come to observe. Or Mondays are the cleaner days and Fridays are the not so clean. All right, so equal lows here. So we got London high, we got a 1 hour swing point. Come up into here. Boom, boom. For lower distribution. What do y'all think? You that are watching, bearish or bullish? Or stay the fuck out. What are you doing? So is it New York low of the day right here? Is that it? Or bullish expansion? Daily look. Russian candle so far. I was neutral. I mean, this daily chart took this equal highs on the buy side. That's technically external range, but there's no internal range to go to really in the daily chart. And in terms of the 4-hour chart, so 4-hour has taken some internal. There's more internal to be taken. One-hour chart, that's a nice stop hunt on the one. I could see that being all it needed to continue higher, at least into this SIBI right in here. 415s, which, how does that line up with midnight open? So below at 415s, actually my target right there, those equal highs. All right, so price is just going into a consolidation mode. Glad I got out of that because I don't want to sit through consolidation. But pushing up to my target. Slow movement. It's building these equal lows down in here, right? Putting that. Trendline liquidity. SMTs everywhere. ES is still just going sideways. YM. Okay, it's starting to correlate again. Nice bullish move. All right, target acquired. I still have ammo today, so I guess. Is there a short here? I don't think that. Moment. It's 10 a.m., so it is time for some kind of reversal. So liquidity taken, high probability time-based liquidity was taken. No inversion. There is a change in state of delivery possible right there. That's not my model. Not my confirmation for taking position. Kind of just zooming out here, seeing what I feel like. So this came down into a discount, longed, longed there. This zone is my zone of interest, this efficiency. Whether or not it continues on past that, I don't know. But I'm imagining some kind of retracement. Uh, 10:15. 5 minutes until the next macro, 10:20. So what I don't see here, I don't see the ability for me to short, which I would short into these equal lows down in here. And in terms of a long, I'm not sure I see that either. I mean, I guess it could come down into here. I could long off of a 15-minute fair value gap, potentially, but that wouldn't give me high probability liquidity rate go with. It'd just be a continuation model. Which, as I think about it, I need to define that in my rules, a continuation model, because it's based off of a pre-existing high probability time-based liquidity grab. So I have to figure that out. All right, so looking like it's going to head down, but I don't have any way to get in on this. I'm also not so confident the price is going to deliver very far today. No news. Maybe this was the impulse for now. We see just a whole bunch of chop. Fridays have been the new Mondays, so I'm not overly interested. I was curious to see if there would be a short setup to come into play right here for me, and there's not. So I'm going to take it as what it is. It's a break-even day for me. That's fine. I think it's a good way to end on a Friday. I wasn't going to push it too hard today, but I did want to show up, and I did want to try to meet my goals for the week. So I think that's a good place to call it for me. So for anyone watching, man, I appreciate you sticking around. I appreciate you just staring at my charts and listening to my stream of consciousness. It's pretty cool. Like, that anybody is even watching me journaling this journey. So I appreciate you being here, and invite you to come back. I'm here every morning, so you know where I'm at.